Look his face.
Yeah.
He's dangerous.
He's special.
You can like.
The guy is special. Everything that could possibly be special about this guy is special. A guy like this is the type of guy that you love to watch and follow. The most special guy that I've ever come across.
Hello and welcome to the McCorry Sports Show. Today we have UFC bantamweight Jack the Tank Shore. How are you?
Yes, mate, I'm good, thank you. Acclimatizing nicely now to Vegas, so feeling good.
Good. Okay, so let's go to the beginning of your career. What made you get into MMA?
I started off as a youngster, really, kickboxing at about age 6. My father just took me along to just to get me active, really, get me into some sport, and I stuck it out. Ended up getting my black belt, and then he eventually opened his own MMA gym. Then, what would it have been 2007, I believe, and then that's when I started my grappling, my MMA training, a little bit of wrestling. So I've been at it ever since then. It's just been one of those things. I started doing it. I loved it. Took to it well, and it's just something I've done all my life, and never been something I wanted to stop doing. And the older I got, the more addicted to it I become.
And do you think after your career, you're going to work at that same gym? Help the next generation?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, so...
Yeah, so me and my father now... Oh, go on. That's my bad. I think the connection.
No. I was going to change the topic, but you continue what you're saying.
Yeah, so my father and I, we own a gym now called Show MMA. Obviously, I do a little bit of coaching here with some of the kids for MMA. But obviously, when I retire, that'll be the next move for me, probably. You know, coaching, helping him. He's obviously the head coach, so passing on my knowledge where I can. I do my best to do it now, but obviously, when I'm not fighting, I'll have a lot more time on my hands. So I'll definitely, I'll always be in the sport, whether it's fighting, coaching, or just as a fan. But I'd like to think after I'm done, I'll still want to help the youngsters and sort of hopefully guide them through the same route that I went.
So you fight at 135, and I wanted to know, what is your normal weight outside of fighting and outside of camp, and how is your weight cut?
If I'm not in training camp, I'm usually what am I, about 72, 73 kilo. So I'm not sure what that is in pounds. I think it's about 158-ish, something like that, 160. My weight cut, the weight cut, obviously we're not as such started the cut yet, but the diet's good. The weight's coming down nicely now this week with the help of the UFC PI. So we're on target. You know, it's never fun, the weight cut. The water cut always sucks, but we're on target as always to get it done.
So what is your weight currently now? It's Sunday. What's your weight at?
Was it? I was actually on weight today, but I weighed after training yesterday, and I had 13 pounds to go. So
13.
Not to be honest, it's going to be I'm a lot lighter than what I usually am at this stage. At this stage, I'm usually a little bit heavier because of the traveling and the water loading and stuff. So we still got a few pounds to shift, but we're on target to make it a nice, or as comfortable as it can be, you know.
Yeah. And then when you rehydrate after the weigh-in, do you get your weight all the way back up to 160 pounds?
It's usually just below. I think we're fighting early again this time in Vegas. And last time, I think I ended up going up to about 150, 152, I think it was. So between 152 and 155, I should imagine. That's where I'll go in there at. Obviously, a lot of that is just water weight and stuff from where you're constantly drinking after the weekend, after the weigh-in, sorry. So, yeah, around about I'd say 150, 155 anyway, between there. I'll expect to go back in there for the fight.
So obviously, the opponent has changed many, many times leading up to this fight. Are you frustrated with that?
The original change, you know, it wasn't as frustrating just because it was like 3 weeks from the fight. We still had time. I knew the UFC would find someone. The second replacement was frustrating, obviously, because I got a guy we signed the contract to fight him, and then within a week he's obviously pulled out with an injury. So that one was a little frustrating, just because I had just landed in the States, and I was thinking to myself, are we going to get a fight? Is it too short notice? But obviously, thankfully, Sean Shelby and the UFC and the matchmakers managed to get someone in. So it was frustrating initially, but literally within an hour of being told he was out, they had someone else. So it was quite stress-free, in all fairness.
And have you had to change your game plan going into this fight for this different opponent? No.
Not too much. I mean, to be honest, I don't focus too much on game plans as such. I just take note of what they're good at, what they're not so good at, and I just go out there and fight my fight. I think sometimes you focus too much on a game plan, something doesn't go right, then you have no answer or no plan B. Whereas I find I always perform a lot better when I just go out there and fight what's in front of me. If the fight stays on the feet or goes to the ground, I'll be ready anyway. So the game plan is, the difference between this guy and the last one isn't too much different. There was a big difference in styles between the Georgian kid and Nurmagomedov, but obviously I'm ready for anyone. I'm a good all-rounder, so I can take the fight anyway and be comfortable.
And how do you see this fight going then?
I mean, he's a tough guy. He applies a lot of forward pressure. He's a good level wrestler, but I do see me finish him. I think once I start letting my boxing go, my Thai boxing, I think he'll initiate a takedown, and I just, if I want to keep it standing and do damage there, I will. But I think if we end up in that clinch and I end up in a good top position, then I'll put him away.
Early, like in the first round, early second, or do you think it'll be in the later rounds?
He's a tough guy, so I think, I'm always capable of finishing in the first round. It just depends when the position comes, but I think more second, third round, if I'm honest.
So you just, if there's an opening, you'll go for it. Otherwise, you'll just let the fight develop.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not out there. I'm not going to try and rush my work. Like, there's not one set thing I'm trying to do. I'm just going to go out there, fight my fight, and when the opening and the opportunity presents itself to put him away, then I'll attack and I'll watch it. I'll attack and I'll work with what I've got. It could be one of those. We could be on the feet for 2 rounds and then end up grappling in the third, or we could grapple early and end up on the floor, in which case I'll obviously try and put him away early. But I'll just take what's in front of me. He's a late replacement. I haven't really had no sparring for this type of style of the guy, so I'll just fight my fight and take it as it comes.
And if you win this fight, do you think maybe you put yourself in line for a top 15 ranked opponent?
Possibly. I think if I had fought Nurmagomedov and beat him, then I definitely would have got a top 15 guy next. Obviously, this guy's coming off the Ultimate Fighter. It's his UFC debut, technically. So, who knows? It'd be nice. I think it'd be a nice reward for me from the UFC, in the sense that, I'm still here. Despite all the pullouts, I've still traveled. I'm still here. I'm still ready to fight. But if I've got to fight like 2 or 3 more guys or one more guy to put myself in that position, then that's what I'll do. But it would be a nice reward and a nice opportunity.
So now let's go to Jack Shore outside of fighting. Well, some of these questions are a bit to do with fighting, but these are quick fire questions, so they're short answers, or you can make them long. So when you're in training camp, what is your favorite snack to have?
In training camp, it's probably, basically in the UK, they have like this thing called skinny spread. It's a little bit like Nutella, but it's low calorie, like no sugar, no oils, that type of stuff. So I got a bad sweet tooth, so my little treat usually, in training camp, if I can fit it in my calories, is a bit of that on a bagel or on a rice cake. It's a bit boring, obviously, but when I'm in training camp, the diet's got to be followed.
And outside of training, when there's no diet to be followed, what kind of snack do you like to grab?
Outside of training, I gotta be honest, my favorite sort of takeaway then would either be like a big pizza or some Indian food, some Indian cuisine. There's a lot of good restaurants in the UK. My girlfriend loves all that stuff. So a curry or a pizza definitely a go-to out of fight camp.
We talked about this on Arnold Allen's 10K calorie challenge video tweet. We talked about wine gums. Do you remember that?
Yes. You can't beat a wine gum. Wine gum is the ultimate post-weigh-in snack. Get them sugars back in. No, I love wine gums. My father loves them. I grew up around him, constantly having them in the house. So as far as like sugary sweets go, that's my go-to.
When you're in your leisure time, is there a favorite movie that you have?
Not specifically. I know I like a good horror film or a good thriller. Me and my girlfriend, we're always looking on Netflix or Sky for the next one. I got a love-hate relationship with horror films because I'm watching them through my fingers. But every time there's a new one comes out, like The Conjuring, Insidious, that type of stuff, I'm the first in line to go and watch it. So there's not like a specific movie, but if I'm gonna have a movie night, it ends up being like a horror or thriller.
And do you have a favorite TV show that follows those lines, like a thriller, or is it completely different?
Like TV shows, series, and stuff like that. I mean, I go through anything. Like I've watched them all: Breaking Bad, Prison Break, Sons of Anarchy, Dexter. My favorite one is probably Sons of Anarchy, to be honest. I haven't watched it for a long time now, but thinking back, that was my favorite one.
And obviously you have your walkout song, but is there a favorite artist that you have or a favorite genre of music?
Yeah, my favorite band is anyone who knows me, especially from the UK, is Oasis. I know they're not together anymore, but all my training songs and when I'm in the car, much to my girlfriend's, she's not always happy with it, but it's always Oasis, Liam Gallagher, Noel Gallagher, that type of stuff. I'm a massive fan. So they were without a doubt my favorite band.
And do you use them for your walkout song?
Yeah, currently I walk out to Supersonic. So I think Supersonic was their first ever single in the UK back in like 1994. And it's just a banger. So I've walked out to that now my last few fights, and obviously it'll be the same this weekend now.
And okay, now I want to transition to talking about fights that are coming up in the UFC. And I guess we can talk about the fight that is happening tonight in the Jake Paul Tyron Woodley fight. How do you see that fight going? Tyron Woodley, Jake Paul.
So like before the fight going in, like before this last week, I was a little bit on the fence. I didn't know how motivated Woodley would be. I didn't know if he was just doing it for a payday. But having a lot of, obviously, this week being out in Vegas, I've been like running a lot. And I've been constantly listening to the interviews and the back and forth. And Woodley seems focused. He seems like he's going in there with a point to prove. And he seems like, he wants to set himself up for some other big fights. So I think Woodley's going to do it. I think Jake Paul's a lot better than what people give him credit for. But I think he's never been sort of punched by a guy like Woodley who knows how to throw them power shots. So fingers crossed he does it anyway for the MMA community. Mm-hmm. Even if I didn't think he was going to win, I'd be supporting him because, MMA needs one back against Jake Paul.
Yeah. And, okay, so obviously the card that you're on, the headliner, Darren Till versus Derek Brunson. How do you see that fight going?
I think Till takes it. I'm a big fan of Till. I think he's an elite level striker and he defensive wrestles very well. So I think if Brunson can't get him down early, which I don't think he'd be able to, I think Till ends up TKOing him. Like maybe not early because Brunson is durable, but I think he TKOs in mid rounds. Second, third, fourth.
Yeah, Paddy Pimblett told me first round. First round for Darren.
Yeah, it could be first round. I just think over 5 rounds, obviously they're both going to come out a little bit cautious, and I think Brunson is looking a lot better since he's been down at Sanford as well. So I just think you'll try and take Till down for a round, get frustrated, get tired, and I think Till takes him out then shortly after.
And then 19th of September, Anthony Smith versus Ryan Spann. How do you see that one panning out?
I think if Smith turns up and fights to how he's capable of, I think Smith takes it and takes it comfortably. But Spann's a good up and comer. It's a good fight for both of them, really. It takes Smith away from fighting those killers in the top 5 or the top 10. And then Spann's obviously the up and coming guy that's looking to make his breakthrough. So it'll be an interesting one now. I think it all depends on where Anthony Smith turns up. But if I had to pick someone specifically, it'd be Anthony Smith.
And then do you think if Anthony Smith wins that, maybe he fights someone like Ankalaev or someone in the top guys, try and get back in title contention?
I think it puts him back in the mix with. Obviously, I don't think it puts him quite near the belt yet, but I think it puts him back in the mix with those top level guys. And he's doing the right thing, in my opinion. He took a couple of tough losses. He's taken a step backwards a little bit, fought some up and comers. Obviously, too good for them, so it'll put him in good stead then going forward.
And then UFC 266. It's the big pay-per-view coming out. How do you see Volkanovsky versus Ortega going?
It's a tough fight to call. Both very different stylistically. I think Volkanovski's pressure may cause Ortega for some few problems just based on the Holloway fight, and he's a little powerhouse. And I know Ortega's a great grappler, but those guys like Volkanovski, when they're on top of you, they're tough to deal with when you're jiu-jitsu guys. So if Ortega can keep his standing and keep the distance and control the range, then I think he's in with a shout. But my gut's telling me to go with Volkanovski.
And how do you see it going? Decision, knockout?
Yeah, I think it'll be a decision. Ortega's tough to put away. And Volkanovski, he's got that grinding style. So I don't see him like knocking him out or submitting him. I just think he grinds him over the 5.
And then Valentina Shivchenkov versus Lauren Murphy.
Shivchenkov quite comfortably. I think she's levels above the rest in the division. So I think Shivchenkov TKO or KO. Maybe second round. I think Murphy's tough enough to survive for a bit, but I think eventually she'll have the making of it.
And then the big rematch from 17 years ago, Nick Diaz versus Robbie Lawler. A fun fight for the fans. How do you see that one going?
Yes, I'm a massive Diaz brothers fan, so obviously I'm gonna root with Nick, but it's not gonna be one-way traffic. Obviously Robbie Lawler, not in the greatest run of form, but still good enough to hang in there with some of the best. So I think Nick takes it, especially because it's over 5 rounds, and I think he does it with a late TKO.
And then another light heavyweight main event, Thiago Santos versus Johnny Walker.
Santos KO. Johnny's too keen to stand, and I think if you stand with someone like Santos with that type of power, and Johnny's he's a great fighter, but he has not got a suspect chin, but he's been knocked out a few times before. So I think Santos takes that one by KO.
And then the women main event on October 10th, Mackenzie Dern versus Marina Rodriguez.
That's a good fight. That's a real toss-up. Just based on her last couple of wins, I think Dern has found her stride a little bit, especially working with Jason Perillo. She seems to be much more comfortable on the feet, and that's making for her to get easier takedowns and obviously working her submission game. So I'll go Mackenzie Dern decision.
And then another pay-per-view that's not actually being done on pay-per-view, UFC 267, Jan versus Clover. How do you see that one going?
I think Jan takes it. I think Clover will actually come and try and look for the takedown and control, but he's a big, powerful guy, Jan. So I think he catches Clover and takes him out. And
then the co-main event in that one, the big rematch again, Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah, that one, I think Jan takes it. It will be interesting to see if Sterling was effective because of his neck injury last time, if that had an effect on his actual fighting ability. But I just think Jan will be riding on high on confidence after the last fight, and I think Jan takes him out, later rounds, 3rd or 4th.
Mm-hmm. And then UFC 268, Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington 2.
I can't pick a winner for that one just because of how close the last fight was. You know, Usman is probably the better fighter skill-wise, especially now he's with Trevor Whitman. But Kobe's style is just tough for anyone to deal with. You know, unless Usman can catch him with a big shot like he did Masvidal, then I think it goes to 5 rounds. And I think every time those two fight is going to be a toss-up, to be honest, between who's going to take it. I don't know. I probably will go with Usman by decision, but it's a real 50-50 fight.
A close decision, like a 3-2.
Yeah, like very, very similar to the last one. If it wasn't to have been stopped, you know, I think it's not going to be one-sided for anyone. I just think this time perhaps Usman will just be that little bit better on the feet, which may make the difference. But you know, don't write Kobe off. His pressure and his boxing is very good as well.
Rose Namajunas versus Weili Zhang, the co-main event on that card.
I think Rose TKOs her again. I think it goes the same way.
Early in the first few minutes.
Maybe not as early as last time, but still early. You know, first or second round.
Brock Shalode won't be happy with that answer.
I know. He's not going to be happy with me with that one. But I just think Rose is that good. I think her striking's so good, and as good as Zhang is, I just think Rose. She's technically levels above some of the girls in the division in terms of striking. I think you need to come and implement a wrestling game plan against her because she's so sharp on the feet.
And especially with Trevor Whitman, her fighting has taken.
Yeah, the guy's a mastermind, isn't he? Especially with the striking.
And then another Whitman fighter, Justin Gaichi versus Michael Chandler.
I think Gaichi, in typical Gaichi fashion, you know, it'll be a war for a round. He'll probably get with some big shots. But I think the leg kicks will add up eventually, and I think he takes him second or third round. He takes him out TKO or KO even.
So you're going with all the Whitman fighters winning on this card?
I am, yeah. I'm high on the Whitman guys. I think they're very good, and I think he's a world-class coach. And there's a reason he's got so many high-level guys there, and there's a reason he only works with a small amount of people at one time. It's because I think what his training is just so specific and so sort of focused to the individual and their needs.
And do you think if all three of these fighters win, he puts himself in line pretty easily for Coach of the Year?
Was that for the Coach of the Year, did you say?
Yeah, Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you've got he's Garo. I mean, two UFC champions, and then obviously, if Gaichi wins, he'll likely be the number one contender. So it would make sense. I mean, you know, it's as simple as that. The guy's a genius, and the differences he's made to Usman's game in a matter of a year's time, you can just see the level. So he's very, very good, and I personally think that if he wins, he'll be Coach of the Year.
Do you think there won't be any bias with Khabib? You know, he's 5-0 as a head coach. I think he's 4-0 in the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, maybe because it's Khabib, but you look at not that they're at a bad level, but obviously the guys that Khabib is cornering, they're a little bit lower down in the rankings, or they're up and comers in Bellator. And you know, they as good as they are, no doubt you'll get there eventually. But Whitman's guys they're either fighting for like titles or number one contender spots. So I think that the level is just a little bit the level's just a little bit higher in terms of like the opposition they're fighting.
Okay, so now let's transition back to you. You Twitch stream, right? Your Twitch streams are very entertaining. Do you use that as a distraction from all your training and MMA?
It's broken up. It's froze.
Did you catch the question, or should I repeat that?
No, can you say that again, Pal? It froze then.
So you Twitch stream, right? And do you use that as a distraction from MMA and training?
Yeah, it's a nice release for me. I've always been into my gaming as a youngster. I stopped for a few years just because, you know, and then I started picking back up again the end of last year, and I'm literally on there every day. You know, Monday to Friday between training sessions. I'm on Warzone or on my PlayStation. So couple of people mentioned to me about getting on Twitch, and I thought, why not? I've got a good following and good fan base, so it seems to be going well. People are enjoying the streams. I haven't actually been able to do one out in Vegas yet because I've been so busy, but fingers crossed I can get one done in the week. But yeah, shout out to all the boys on Twitch who tune in regular and subscribe as well. If you want to subscribe, it's Jack Show MMA.
And do you have a large subscriber count on Twitch?
Don't get me wrong, it's not a massive count at the minute, but it's climbing. There's a good, I think we've got 20 or 30 regulars on there at the minute. I've got a couple of hundred followers. Obviously, I've only been doing it a few weeks. I'm still getting to grips with it, to be honest. I don't know what half of it even means, but I'll get there eventually. And obviously, I will try and put out some more content that's not just me being bad at Warzone. I'm going to go straight on there after my fight next weekend to give my thoughts on the fight and interact with a few fans. So yeah, if you want an in-depth breakdown or an in-depth chat about how I felt about the fight immediately after, jump on my Twitch after the fight. But it'll only get better with time. I'm trying my best, and I've got some good guys guiding me in the right direction too.
Do you think you'll do what Demetrius Johnson did in the first fight against Henry Cejudo? He was streaming a game, and then he left the stream on for the fight, and then knocked out Henry Cejudo in the first round. Came back to the stream and continued playing. Do you know what he did?
So say that question again.
Do you think maybe you'll do what Demetrius Johnson did in the Cejudo first fight, like what he did with the stream?
No, I don't know what he did.
He was streaming, and then when it was time for him to fight, he left the stream on, and then he knocked out Henry Cejudo early and came back to the stream, continued playing his game.
I'm not sure if I'll be able to do that just because of we got to spend quite a bit of time at the Apex and everything before we go. But I'll definitely jump on afterwards. Within a couple of hours, just to, obviously we've got to do the medicals and stuff after, and speak to my family. But I'll definitely jump on and get chatting to everyone, and just let them know my thoughts on the fight and see what everyone thinks and answer any questions they got.
So do you think you'll dominate this fight and you'll be happy with the result, continue being undefeated and keep on your way?
Yeah, I think so. Look, it's not ideal with the pullouts and stuff, but we keep moving forward. I can only fight who's in front of me. That's the plan. Go out there, dominate, and just move on. See if we can get out again maybe before the end of the year. I know there's obviously isolation stuff I've got to do back in the UK, and I've got stuff with the family arranged, so maybe it'll be next year. But let's just focus on next Saturday, get through this guy, and we go from there.
Okay, last question of the show. If you win, who's the opponent in mind, and when do you want to fight? You obviously said hopefully end of the year, beginning of next year. Is there an ideal month for you, and who?
Yeah, look, there's no set opponent, just someone with a ranking next to their name would be nice. UFC, whenever they come to London, it tends to be March time. So if they can get that sorted, I'd love to get on a local card or a European card, March, February time. But like I said, we see how things play out with injuries and stuff and isolation, and we'll just address all that after the fight. But, if I do win, which I'm going to, it'll be great to get a ranking guy next.
Okay, thank you so much, Jack, for joining my show. It's a real honor to have you on the show. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you, brother. No problem at all.
Well, that was a great interview. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to follow Jack, his socials will be all down below, and you can follow me as well. I'll leave those in the description. Jack is fighting next week, Saturday, on the Till versus Brunson. Actually, by the time this comes out, it will be that coming Saturday. So keep your eyes tuned. It's an early card starting at 12 p.m. Eastern time, I believe. So don't miss it. Jack Shore hopefully will win his fight. Have a great day. Peace.